How's everyone doing out there? I'm waiting for CAC Sports Cards to join. We're going to talk some hockey and look at some hockey cards. This is my first time using StreamYard, so bear with me here for a minute. I have all these vintage hockey cards, and I don't know as much about hockey as I do about baseball and football, and even not quite as much as basketball. I was real into hockey cards and hockey back in the early 2000s. I got the package. I watched all the early games, and then I watched the late games, and really got into hockey. So I have tons of hockey sets, hockey cards from the early 2000s, and I have a good bit of vintage hockey cards too. So I want to know, I want to find out for myself a little bit of what I have. When I look at a baseball card, I know the year right away. Most football cards, basketball cards, I know the year right away just looking at it. But with hockey, I have to think a little bit. It's not quite the not quite the same thing. Wait for some people to join. If you're in the room, let me know. Okay, he's logging in now. I have a video on here from not so long ago. I have a friend who was big into collecting hockey cards, and he got rid of all his cards, and he had just kept some extra special stuff. And one day I got this big box in the mail, and he sent it to me.
Oh, I am no longer backstage. This is exciting.
There you go. How are you?
Well, a little dark, but all right. Not too bad.
How far back do my I'm just looking at a comment. How far back do my hockey cards go? Yeah, I got the Gretzky rookies. We could get into that a little later. So I was just explaining that you were coming on, that I have
Cool.
I have all these old vintage hockey cards, and I don't know the year just by looking at them like I do with baseball, and I don't know the history of all the players like I do, and the history of the sets necessarily. And I know you're a big hockey collector, and I thought, well, wouldn't it be wonderful if we got together? I show you the cards that I have, and you could tell everybody about them, including me.
I'm very excited for this. I'm completing my because of this, live stream. I went with an entire Italian themed evening. Right, I had some pasta, a little red wine. I'm going to grab it tomorrow so that we really have. So we carry it all the way through. But I'm just. I mean, thank you for even inviting me. I'm excited to, and almost a little nervous to see what you're going to pull out. Who knows? Because I'm thinking there's probably something from like 1910 going to show up out of your collection, and I'm going to be very generous. But
maybe I do have two cards from that era, but it's my understanding that no one knows for sure what year they were produced.
That's probably true. I just know I have some eBay searches that seem to work for specific years, but there's always question back that far.
Well, let's take a look at them.
Cool.
Let's see here. First, we have Freddie Taylor. I guess he was the first great scorer in hockey.
Cyclone, Freddie Taylor.
Cyclone, right.
Oh.
Now,
that 1911? Yeah. Okay.
Well, it says 1911 C55, but from my reading, no one's positive that's the year.
Yeah, there seems to be like one of those range, a little range like they have on the T206s where it's sort of like, a couple of years. But 1911 is at least how I know it. I don't own any of them, but yeah, totally obsessed with them.
I'm surprised at that. And I have this Art Ross.
Ah, that's the one. That's the legend himself, Art Ross, the Art Ross Trophy.
Now, do you? I'm sure you know the story. Do you want to tell everybody how the Art Ross Trophy came to be?
I'm not sure I know the story at that level of detail, though.
Well, in the late 40s, he was a general manager. I guess he was a coach / general manager,
Mm-hmm.
and he put together the trophy to reward the top scorer, and so it was named after him because everybody always wants to know why a scoring trophy is named after a defenseman,
Yeah.
right? And Art Ross was known to be the first defenseman to really take the puck coast to coast. That wasn't a common practice back then.
No. And even it didn't become a common practice until you got into the Bobby Orr era. And even now, I feel like defensemen don't go coast to coast as much as they nearly should.
Yeah, the one defenseman I remember, and man, I was a huge fan of his, going coast to coast all the time, was Paul Coffey.
Paul Coffey, yeah, he was amazing. He was
one of the best at it. Somebody's asking for Yager and Lemieux.
Yeah.
I was telling a story about my friend had sold all his hockey cards. He was a big hockey collector. And one day I get a big box in the mail. He had only kept his favorite stuff. And he finally decided to give it that, and he sent it to me. So it was awesome. I did a little video on it, but there are some autographed pucks of Lemieux and Yager. Of course, I grew up with those guys in the Stanley Cup years. I have a whole autographed hockey stick too with that whole team. Yager's rookie season. We had a businessman in town, and he used to fly to Toronto with Paul Coffey on his private plane, and he got him to circulate and sign that for an auction. Well, back in the day, I won it for $175.
Nice. I'm a long-suffering Islander fan, right? Well, I had a good run when I was 9 to 13 years old, right, with the Islanders, and but when in like what was it, 89-ish to 92, when the Penguins had Lemieux, Yager, Stevens, Coffey, and that power play, it was literally the most stressful thing you could watch as an opponent. Just watching them work the ice, and I've never seen a team orchestrate like that. It was incredible.
Ron Francis was on that team too.
Sure.
And they had a center named John Cullen.
Yep, John Cullen. Sure.
Yeah. Man, that was so much fun to watch. Back in Pittsburgh, we watched them every night. I would sit there and watch them every night. I mean, Lemieux to me is the best, hands down, the best player I've ever watched. He just made everybody around him better. And at the end of his career, it was so sad because he would put passes right on net, and the Penguins had no talent around him, and these passes were just wasted. I can't imagine if he was on a decent team, how many points he would have had, how many more assists.
You wonder. I mean, it's like I grew up watching Gretzky, right? I mean, the Islanders then turning over the dynasty to Gretzky, but watching Lemieux, you wonder if we wouldn't be talking differently about the greatest player of all time if he had stayed healthy.
Yeah,
because
he's number 2 in goals per game played.
Yeah.
And he's number 3 in points per games played.
Mm-hmm.
So Mike Bossy's number 1.
Yeah.
And then Gretzky's like 7th on the goals per game played, and Lemieux's 2nd. Yeah. And then then it's Gretzky, Lemieux, and Bossy with points per game played.
You don't realize, or I didn't realize, how spoiled we were to have Bossy, Potvin, Trottier, that whole. Trying to see if I had a Bossy handy, but. Hot Van Troy, yeah, it is a bust.
Yeah, I remember Ray Bork.
Not his best, but it's always
Oh
cool
yeah,
in 1979.
yeah, man. Mike Bossy, he doesn't get enough love.
No,
Not getting
definitely
enough
not
love.
enough love. Ray Bork, just the gentleman was saying, anybody remember? I mean, Ray Bork. Ray Bork doesn't get enough love.
No.
Ray Bork was amazing for so many
Yeah.
years. And then, so I moved up to Boston. So I was living outside of Boston for 25 years. Now I'm back in Rhode Island, so it's still Bruins country. But I mean, you get to watch Bork play every night. That was a treat too.
And how about Cam Neely?
Yeah, I never. I mean, yes, it was a shorter time period. I never felt for him. Right? He annoyed me, but
Okay.
But he was.
You know Bill Mickelson?
No.
NY Yanks fan 7's asking if any rare Bill Mickelson cards.
Yeah. I'm not aware of. I'm just thinking that was a typo, and he was asking about the golfer. But
well, he has a sense of humor, so it's probably a joke, and I'm not getting it because I don't know who Bill Mickelson is.
Maybe.
But my guess is it's a joke. But I might have some. Do you have any graded comic books laying around?
Me? No comic books. No comic books.
I always bust his chops because I'm like, what's the use of grading a comic book? You're supposed to be able to open it. You don't even know what's in it. I've never understood that.
Right? Because you can't get into any of that.
Okay, so let's start off with somebody who holds a place in hockey history. Bill, how do you pronounce it? Messienko?
It's probably as close as you get. Musienko. Yep.
Do you know what? Do you know him?
Not very well. No.
And what's this card?
Oh, I love the Parkhursts. Is that the 51? Yeah.
Yeah, so he holds the record for the fastest hat trick in history. He did it in like 21 seconds. See, he's holding up his 3 pucks there.
Ah.
I just learned that this year. Okay, how about this guy? Wally Hergesheimer.
You're giving me all the 50s. I love it. I love it.
Fast Eddie, what's up? Mickelson is best known. Worst plus minus rating single season.
Oh.
For the Capitals, 74-75.
Pretty impressive. Right. Minus 82. Like you really have to try to do that bad.
Now here's a player I've always had a fascination with, the Rocket.
Maurice. Some of the cards from the 50s, they're just so stunningly beautiful. Right?
Yeah, they're pretty cool looking.
Yeah.
Oh, I wanted to ask you about these. Well, first I have these. What are these? Salada?
It's a lot of coins. Those are a little too oddball for me.
You don't like oddball stuff?
Not that I don't like oddball. I don't know that I'm familiar with those oddballs.
Well, I have 3 of those. I have tons of them for baseball. How about this guy?
Hall of Famer. Can't go wrong there.
Yeah, it's his only card with Boston, right?
I was going to say, yeah, you know him as, the fly on Philly, but that's kind of a neat little card. That's another one. It's another oddball. That doesn't look familiar.
Yeah, but it's his rookie card. It's a Coca-Cola card.
Oh, okay.
Pretty obscure.
Yeah, just quite a bit.
What else do we have? Fast Eddie, I'm good. Thanks for joining. There's a man that knows his baseball. All right, how about this? This is a great card.
Oh, that's awesome. Dump.
He was good, wasn't he?
What's that?
He was good, wasn't he?
I mean, I imagine because, he is in the Hall of Fame and all. So,
yeah, I don't know that much about him, but he has a great game.
No, he was he was a very good goalie on the Rangers, and then he went to the Canadians, right? But
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know that. How about Elmer Basco? Where are these from? 65?
Sounds about right. The tall boys.
It's the only one I have. I'd like to get more. They
I have,
remade these in the early 2000s. Was it, I don't know, Fleer Platinum or Upper Deck something? I forget now. But I have, I was big into collecting them. I have a stack like that with a lot of the short prints.
oh, okay. Back, yeah. I'm not sure. I have a few of the football ones that I bought a handful from that year, but nothing was, a couple of Jets from my long suffering Jets fandom.
Going back to this, Dr. Exclusive, you're saying this was issued 3 years before? So he was in the minors?
So that's a Providence Bruins?
So that's a prospect card then by Beckett terms.
Yes. I like
Now,
it.
do you know anything about these?
I've seen a handful of those in my some of my searches because I've seen a couple of high graded ones which are interesting.
Yeah, this is Red Kelly.
Yes, another Hall. Did you have any cards that are not Hall of Famers?
Yeah, I'm sure I have some. Alec Del Vecchio.
Yeah, I have a couple of his cards. They're a little later in the 70s, but it's funny because he sort of just looks like an old man in a hockey uniform. Some of his later cards, it's fun.
I agree, Fast Eddie. I don't like that term at all.
Obscure, limited release. What are we?
What's that?
Maybe we'll go with limited release cards.
No. The term oddball.
No, I know. That's why. So I don't want to use oddball anymore.
Yeah.
We don't want
Well, they're not all limited release, but to me, a card is a card.
Sure.
Like just because it has a different size, like is this an oddball card because it's a different size? Is a T206 an oddball card because it's a different size? You know what I mean? So this is considered oddball. But I never liked that term because a card is a card.
Yeah.
And over the years, there's all kind of different companies that make cards, right? Coca-Cola, Topps. You have the tobacco eras, the candy era, Nielsen's chocolates, Willard chocolate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hostess, Kellogg's. They're all cards to me.
There are some Laval dairies from 1951. Those, that's a pretty. I will say it's a hard to find set.
Yeah. What are they again?
1951 Laval Dairy. So Laval, Quebec, city in Quebec. It was some dairy release, right? I think it has a lot of Montreal Canadiens from what I've seen, but
I don't know that one.
Really, really neat looking cards. It's in a similar feel to those 51 Parkhursts, which are just so cool. They're photos. They're not like sort of the drawings or the paintings.
Yeah. Well, I have and I don't have them right here. Those Parade Supportive. You know those? They were for the Canadians. And there's a rare Jackie Robinson in there too, because they did the Montreal Royals. They included them in the set. They're big, oversized cards.
No, that doesn't.
I'll have to grab them. Before we leave. How about this guy?
Oh yeah. Oh, Bobby Hull. Well, that's a nice auto.
Yeah, what year are these? 66.
Yeah.
So same as the football with the brown border there, the TV.
Yeah.
And here's Leon Hodge. Cool card.
Very cool. Yeah, the All-Star cards in the 60s are just they're so colorful. And they almost look like they don't belong in the set, which is really, in some ways it's neat, in some ways it's a little odd, but
yeah.
Not oddball, but just out of place. But they're pretty. I find them pretty cool looking.
How about here's an autograph, Johnny Bauer. What'd they call him? The China Wall? Is that him?
Yeah. That's a great looking. Those 66s are just so tough.
And what do I have here? An Alec Del Vecchio. Alex.
He's very underappreciated, Alex Delvecchio.
Now, do you know what's special about this? And this is your team.
What is well? No. My team is the Islanders, but I do support. I don't hate the Bruins. What is special about that is
the team you followed.
well, yeah. Is Willie O'Ree in there? Is that around the 61?
That's right. It's the only features the first black hockey player in the NHL, Willie O'Ree. He's in the back there. It's the only card up until they made modern cards with him. But during his playing days, that's the only card he's on.
Yeah. Oh, so he didn't have any cards that were he was.
Nope, he doesn't have any single cards. Not until, like I said, in the 90s or something, they made some. How about Chico Mackey?
Chico Mackey. He does not ring a bell to me.
Anybody on here know Chico Mackey? Oh, and this is great too. What is this? This is a Wheaties, and this is another Rocket.
Oh, I like that.
And how many Stanley Cups did they win? Something like 6?
It was like every year.
Yeah, they dominated.
Yeah.
They were like the Cleveland Browns, like Otto Graham going to 10 straight championships. Every year they were there.
It was nonstop.
How about Eddie Shack? And these are some cool looking cards from 62, Parkhurst.
Yeah, I like the puck design.
I got a few of these. Who's this? This is Sid Abel.
Okay. Another. Is that a coach card? Yeah.
Yeah. I think he was a famous coach. Another Gump. This is a cool card.
That is kind of neat. I don't know if I've ever seen that one.
And how about Doug Harvey?
Sure. I do.
Billy Day?
I have great hatred for the Rangers, but a lot of respect for certain players.
Well, then you're not going to like this next guy.
Well, I'm not going to. I'm sure I won't.
Andy Bathgate.
Sure, yeah.
And I think he played for my Penguins at the end of his career, or towards the end.
Maybe. Yeah, he spent a lot of time.
And Riders on the Storm, baby. Jim Morrison. What do we have? Tom Williams. Another Bruin.
Mm-hmm.
Here I got a couple Mike Bossy rookies.
Oh, there you go.
Got a couple of those. I have another one somewhere. Marcel Dion.
But he's somebody who I think is. I mean, he never won a Stanley Cup, but somebody who I think that people don't appreciate how good he was.
Yeah.
On the Kings with him and was it Charlie Simmer? They were like a deadly duo during the late 70s.
Well, if we go here, let's see. Here's his rookie card.
That 19. That's a beautiful one.
Yeah, this set's cool.
Yeah, I love that 70. It was a 71, right? The 71 design.
Yeah.
Is Ken Dryden next? Gordie Howe. Okay.
Oh, let me get to Ken Dryden. One of the top rookie cards of the 70s.
Yeah.
I have it on a display. Man, he was a beast in the 70s, wasn't he?
Where it belongs. Yeah, I love that 71 design. Now, Phil Esposito, the numbers that he put up in the mid 70s were just stupid.
Yeah, then I got Jerry Cheevers.
Sure. Awesome.
Bobby Orr. Sal Apps. One of the few good players the Penguins had.
Yeah.
And here's a photo that shows it's just so apropos for his name, Gump. He looks like a Gump there.
He definitely does look like a Gump in that one. Much more so than the others.
Now, this might make you crave coffee.
Now, is Tim Horton, it's funny. People probably don't even know that he had a great hockey career and he's in the Hall of Fame, and he's he's an NHL legend. But I'll be honest, freaking coffee at Tim Hortons is quite enjoyable. I spent a lot in Canada.
And he makes a lot of cool cards too.
Yeah.
I got Tim Horton cards.
They do they do a release every year, right?
I think he does more than one.
Okay.
What else do we have here?
Get a card or two with your coffee. You build up quite a collection over it.
Oh, that's awesome. I wish Starbucks did that. Here's a Johnny Busack.
Ah,
Busick. Am I pronouncing it right?
Busick. Yeah.
Native American, right?
Yeah, that's how he got his nickname, the Chief.
Stan. Pronounce his name. I always screw it up.
Yeah, Makita. He's another one. He's got donut shops around Chicago, right? Or maybe that was just from the Wayne's World movie. I don't know if that was just staged.
He passed away not so long ago, right?
I think
like a year or two ago.
Yeah, like pretty recently. That sounds about right. I always found his cards in the 70s interesting because when you turned over the card to look at the stats, you could barely see the numbers because he had so many seasons on there that they were so tiny.
Yeah. Not as many as Gordie Howe, though, huh?
It was close. It seemed like it was close. I mean, Gordie Howe was just like in every decade, right? The 50s, 60s, 70s, and even 80s, I thought. Right? He played across 4 decades.
Yeah.
Crazy.
He played forever.
Jacques Plante.
Is hockey a real sport? Come on now.
What?
Any sport where most of the players don't have front teeth, they're doing something.
Wow. I give them a lot of credit. Oh yeah, that's the Del Vecchio card I was talking about, where he just kind of looks like an old man put on a hockey costume.
Yeah, he does. How about this? Is another Gump.
Yes.
Man, I have a lot of Gump. Guy Lafleur.
Oh, Guy Lafleur, one of my favorites. He was another one. Like when he got going and his hair started flapping in the wind, you knew you were in trouble. He would just fly by you.
And these leaders are pretty cool with Phil Esposito, Bobby Hall, and Vic Hadfield. Oh, I wanted to go back and point something out here. I forgot to point it out. So what this card is cool. This is the NHL scoring leaders.
Okay.
And they're all Bruins.
Yeah.
They had a heck of a team that year.
Yeah, during the early 70s, they were a machine. But did you if you go back and look at the stats that Bobby Orr put up, they almost don't make sense. Like the way he changed the game or dominated the game during like 4 or 5 years. It was like obscene.
Yeah.
So it certainly makes sense that they've got the 3 leading goal scorers, leading point getters, kind of like the Oilers days too.
Speaking of.
Yep.
This is a cool card. This features the Esposito line.
Uh-huh. Very cool.
Yeah, that's a cool card. How about Les Binkley?
I'm not familiar with him.
Here's another Tim Horton.
Now I feel like I want some coffee for some reason. I don't know why.
What else do we have? Oh, this is an awesome Grant Fuhr.
Oh, very nice. Is that an O-Peachy? Because that doesn't look familiar to me because I was only collecting the tops back in the day.
Yeah, it's O-Peachy, and I have this awesome, my man, Paul Coffey rookie.
Nice. Yes. That's definitely on my list of something that I don't have, and I feel like it needs to be in my collection, the Coffey rookie.
Yeah, he always looked like Robert De Niro. I always thought he looked like Robert De Niro. They should have made a movie when Rob was young about him, and he could have played him. But I'm going to tell you a great Paul Coffey story.
Okay.
So, he and Lemieux were my favorite Penguins, and I was a huge Paul Coffey fan. So I had somebody in my town, a company, invited me to a Penguin game at the Civic Arena at the time, and we had seats right up on the glass. So I go to the game, and Paul Coffey gets into a fight right in front of me and facing me. And he's going like this, and he's coming at me, and I'm dodging, and I mean those punches were like in 3D. It was awesome.
And he wasn't somebody who got into a lot of fights, so that must have been even more of a special occasion.
Yeah, well, he won that one, so
He did.
How about Yari Curry?
Yeah,
That's his rookie.
Not somebody who with all his goals, you don't hear about him at all.
No, he gets no love.
Yeah,
he gets no love.
No love.
Super action, Gretzky.
Beautiful. Yeah, I also think that some of the guys who have their rookies in that 82 range, like they don't get the love anyway.
No, I mean these cards, they just don't carry the premium that baseball do. Here's a Mike Bossy super action.
Lovely.
Oh, how about this guy, Larry Robinson?
Oh, he was an animal. He was. If you go back and watch some old highlights of him playing, like I don't know how anybody walked away from a game playing against him where they just weren't bruised and battered and like just miserable for a week.
I have to see if I can find something quickly. I'm going to walk away here for a second. I have something awesome from him.
Oh yeah, from okay.
Here's
Ray Bork, sure.
Yep, Ray Bork. Somebody was asking about him earlier.
Super action.
Like these scoring leaders, you could pick these up for like 30 cents back in the day, a quarter.
Yeah, no, you can still probably pick them up. Well, not the ones with the Gretzky.
Let me see if I can find this. This is so awesome.
All right. I'll pick up. I'll try to take over the show for a few minutes. It's not going to be as exciting. Here's a Bobby Orr Essential Credentials from 2012 clear, where they did these fun inserts. But this was a lot of fun. I mean, this is numbered out of 4, so that's fun. I obviously paid quite a bit for that, but just the yellow of it, the whole see-through, so cool.
Well, I mean, they make these fancy cards today. It's hard to compete. I mean, the images on the old cards are nice, but they're not all shiny and reflective.
No. It's funny, like the shiny stuff doesn't. There's some stuff that I really have, or I keep discovering some of the shiny stuff. On some of the newer cards, but there's something about the 70s and the and the 80s that just I can't get away from.
Yeah, me neither.
All right, so what is that? Oh, is that
an autographed Sports Illustrated of him? But look at him punching that dude in the face. It's just classic Robinson.
It's perfect. Yeah. Yeah, he was just such a beast. Yeah, I think ink, paper, wax collector. I think even Messier was overshadowed by Gretzky. Now, again, I hate the Rangers and I hate Mark Messier, but I mean, he is somebody who in the hobby gets virtually no love, and I don't understand that at all.
Yeah. Here's some Gordie Howe, some of his last cards.
Okay, yeah. Oh, it's a WHA one, right?
Yeah. Now tell me about that league.
Well, it had a few years where they were in existence, or kind of winding up the end of their tenure towards the end of the 70s. And I think there were only a handful of teams left. And then the NHL, they merged them in around 79, right? It was when Edmonton, Quebec, Hartford came in.
And I have this one too.
Yeah, I never understood how the WHA versus the NHL worked in the 70s, because they had like serious players, right? It wasn't. I mean, Gordie Howe, Bobby Hull had some WHA cards, around that, and it was weird. I'd have to do a little more background on the story of that, because I never really understood how that all came together.
This is this 76 set I just love. The cards are so amazing.
All right, so hold on, yeah. Let's see.
And this is Rick Keogh. I just love this. I featured this on one of my best looking cards.
Yeah, Keogh is. He was a very appreciated guy, but obviously you appreciate
Because
it.
he played for the Penguins and they
Yeah.
stunk.
So here's my Dennis Potvin. This is as an Islander fan, I was much more of a Brian Trottier guy. But I appreciated Potvin and Bossy, but like I never connected with them the way that I just love Trottier. But this is his face in this card. This will be one of my favorite cards too. I think it's just he looks so happy, right? Just he's like, hey, yeah, finally getting my own beautiful card in the 70s. But I do love this set, right? The 76, 77s.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
They really are.
And here's another Johnny Busick autograph.
Yeah, it's the 7. Yeah.
Another Rick Keogh. I'm from Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Well, you got to have Rick Keogh. How many times did Rick Keogh score? He was a very good goal scorer, right?
Yeah, I mean he was the superstar. Him and Sal Epps, I guess. And they had who was the other guy?
Yeah, but they definitely had a bunch of lean years in the 70s and early 80s.
How about Rick Middleton?
Yes, very, very dangerous winger on the Bruins.
And was Bobby Orr?
Yeah, I don't. The whole him going to the Blackhawks. If you read his book, it was a kind of a sad ending to his career. Even though it was something that it was good for both parties that he kind of ended up getting. I don't want to say getting out of town, but he just couldn't be any more use to the Bruins. So at least they got something for him, and he understood.
Yeah, here's Sal Apps, and I think he has 2 cards. So this says down here, it says now with the Kings.
Yeah, so that's
but they originally showed him with the Penguins.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool to have both. There's your man, Ken Dryden. Oh, Pierre LaRoche is the other Penguin I was thinking about.
Okay.
Yeah, he was pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember him more on the on the Rangers, just because.
Another Stan.
A lot of Makitas.
Daryl Sittler.
He was amazing. I think he scored. He had like 6 goals in a game once.
Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, he was another one of those guys who got kind of like Dion. It's funny that you pulled them up like consecutively, because neither of them won Stanley Cups, but they were just always on the in the top 5 scoring leaders all the time.
Yeah, I have all kind of more, but these were cool. These were in the O-Pee-Chee in 73, 74. They were like rings. You punched them out and put them around your finger, I guess.
I guess, yeah.
I don't know. I have a couple of those. And this is a tough set to find in high grade. Here's a Sal Epps.
Oh yeah, the green and the red on those on that year is so tough.
Yeah,
and they're all just miscut like everything in the 70s. Oh yeah, there's the red.
Here's another Chico Mackey.
Chico Mackey.
You gotta look him up now.
I'm gonna have to brush up on some Blackhawks history and do some Chico Mackey research.
Dave Keown.
Yeah, he was. Didn't he end up on the? Did he end up on the Penguins too, or am I just now confusing him with Kehoe?
He might have. I don't know.
I don't know.
Bernie Perrant.
Ah, yes. I was just looking at a listing.
Now, Dennis Hall. Is he Bobby's brother?
Yes, Bobby's brother. Had a decent career. Obviously, nothing like his brother. But,
decent career?
Yeah, decent career. He was around for a while, I think. Yeah.
How about Eddie Shack? He looks like he took one too many pucks to the nose.
Some of that looks like it's straight out of Slapshot. That's awesome.
Actually, he kind of resembles you.
Oh wow!
Let's put some glasses on him and cut his hair.
Turn this off. Right?
And tone his nose down, obviously.
He looks like Santa Claus with his red nose there. Serge Savard, yeah, he was another amazing defenseman, or just not amazing defenseman, but he was just always there. He was Always present. Another Hall of Famer.
Okay, here's a Gretzky, unscratched.
Fabulous. That's one of my favorite, or if not my favorite, Gretzky card. I just got one back in a PSA order it was from my childhood collection. I think what we graded out of 5, I think. I had it, of course, I had scratched it off because when you're 9, 10 years old and you're presented with a card like that, what are you going to do? You're going to find a coin and you're going to scratch off the
Right.
back, whatever, right?
That's right. That's what I did. So
yeah, sure. But but for some reason the O-Pee-Chee, right, in Canada, they didn't put that covering on it, so they have a nice. They look so much nicer.
Yeah, but and they all had this. So you have that one, then you had this one, and he was on so many cards in the '80s. Yeah. Oh my God, he was on every scoring leader and this and that.
Yeah.
And this one.
Yep. The team card, team leaders.
And this one.
Record breaker. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if you're aware of this, but there was a 21-year period where only 3 players in 21 years won the Art Ross.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
I don't know if I knew the specifics of the 21 years, but I when you look back at the Gretzky to Lemieux time frame, it's just total dominance, right?
Yeah, it was Gretzky, then Lemieux won it every year, and then Yager. Only 3 players, and 2 of them were Penguins.
Yeah.
How about here's a Ray Bork.
Ray. Now that doesn't he look like the Tin Man in the Wizard of Oz in that picture? It's a weird picture, right?
How about who knows this guy?
I think everybody in America knows that guy, Jim Craig. You have to.
Well, I mean, back if you were,
yes,
maybe younger people don't.
If you're of advanced age, or at least Oh, but they did the movie recently. I feel like even the younger generation is well aware of.
Yeah, although that movie's even pretty old now.
Well, it's probably 15 years old now.
Well, if anybody's watching that doesn't know, he was the goalie on the USA team that beat Russia.
Yes.
And here's a Marcel Dion.
Wait a second. Who is that?
Oh, what'd you ask?
Marcel Dion. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You're trying to throw me off.
You don't know him?
I don't know him. I know the other Marcel Dion.
Oh, there's 2 of them.
Well, yeah, isn't that a goal? That was a goalie from the Nordiques.
Man, I probably bought the wrong one, thinking I was getting the other guy.
You're missing an N and an E at the end of his name.
Here's a Mike Bossy. Now this one's scratched. I got 2 of these.
Yeah, Wait,
this one's center.
That's scratched or not an O-Pee-Chee? Yeah, because it's just.
Yeah, here's a Gretzky scratched.
Okay, yeah.
And this is a cool Esposito card right here.
Yeah, certainly.
And here's the unscratched Bossy.
Islander team leaders.
That's Bossy, right?
Yeah, that's Bossy. He's probably, I think they put the goal leaders on each of those cards that year. So that would.
I have some old wrappers. I got to figure out what years they belong to. I know one is this year. I know that. And I also have one from '79. They're not too hard to get. What else do I have here? How cool are these? These were, what are these? These are like Lipton soup, I think.
I don't know. I'm not familiar with those at all.
Yeah, these are pretty rare. Nobody laugh at me, but they're pretty rare. I think they're Lipton soup. How about Bob Goldman? Goldham. Cool card.
Don't know him, but a very, very cool card.
And this is Red Kelly.
All right. Yeah. So where are we in? You're in. Is that 54ish, 55ish?
Somewhere in there. Oh, 54, 55.
Oh, you're 54. All right.
Alex Del Vecchio.
That's a much better card of Alex Del Vecchio than his. Much better than his old man 71.
Now, what's Ted Lindsay known for? Who knows this? I'll wait for some comments.
Okay.
Don't be Googling it.
I believe there's a trophy.
Yeah, he was the first player to skate around the ice holding up the Stanley Cup trophy. He started that tradition.
Oh, is that right? He started that tradition? Okay.
Yep. And here's another one. And here's the Rockets' brother, Henry. This was the first really old hockey card I ever got.
That's a cool one. Hurricane. This is what we were dealing with all weekend. Hurricane Henri, right? Barreling into Rhode Island, starting to stress me out. I thought I was going to lose power and not be able to do this live stream. Would have been ruined.
But hey, he said the Lipton soup that came on the boxes. I guess you cut them out.
Okay.
How about Johnny Wilson? Now, who knows this guy? If I'm not mistaken, I think he's the Cal Ripken of hockey. I think he played like some insane amount of consecutive games.
You know that.
Who knows?
What's his name?
He was like the Iron Man of hockey, I believe.
No, I don't know. We'll have to. We could. I need like a notebook with a bunch of toys.
This is such a great set.
Yeah, that set is incredible, right? The way, and a lot of them from that era, just the way the cards are presented, they're just so different, right? But that set, especially with the red and the blue borders on the bottom, really, really cool.
I'll tell you, in my life, I like new things, right? I like new homes. I like new cars. I like new clothes. I like new everything. You know, I like new golf clubs, you name it. Like I like new. I don't like antiques, but for some reason from day one, I just loved vintage cards. Like I am just drawn to them. They're like little works of art to me.
No, I agree. I think, and especially, as you kind of you get towards some of the stuff that's being released now, or even the stuff that was in the 90s or whatever, there's just there's something different about going, especially back in the 50s and 60s, like some of those things, some of those cards, because they're so unique and so different than what anything has been produced since. It's just I'm going
to show you a really cool card now. But before I do, for the people watching, this is on my channel. Tell us about your channel. What do you show a lot of hockey? So.
Well, yeah. So So I started the channel, the CAC Sports Cards. It's a very creative name, my initials, right? I started. It's funny. I have I've been on YouTube a little longer doing wine and spirits and videos on another channel, and that's called Drinking It In, and that's like something where I spend so much time doing filming, editing, doing all this research about tags and this and that, whatever. But as I was getting back into the collecting world, I was like, you know what? I'm going to start up a different channel, kind of just catalogs my journey back, getting back into things, going through my old collection and whatnot, just to try stuff out, with the YouTube algorithm and this and that. But it just became just more fun than anything else. So, I mean, a lot of what, it's funny. I played football in college. Well, I was a kicker and a punter in college. So yeah, jokes aside, right? I played football in college. Baseball was always my first love, in terms of playing. I cannot skate, but I am totally obsessed with hockey, with the NHL and hockey cards. And so as I've done more videos, I find any of the stuff that I'm buying today is very heavy hockey focused. So I do a lot of stuff, whether it's, a lot of, I have tons of stuff that's still at PSA. So there's a lot of PSA reveal stuff and just try to have fun with it. I don't know if most people don't like the hater videos that I do where I take on a different personality and usually badmouth a player. That's,
those are great.
Some people I appreciate. You're one of the 3 or 4 people I think that enjoy them.
No, that's like a trademark. I enjoy those. Those are funny. I did that once. I did like a
Yeah,
young collector versus an old collector,
yeah,
and I was
yeah, yeah.
like Duke Snyder, and then I'd go show
Mhm.
an Aaron Judge, and I'd be like,
Yeah.
back and forth with the modern
Yeah.
players because I kind of have a split personality because I like both. You
Mhm.
know, I get into vintage, and then I'll get into modern a little bit, and then I'll go back to vintage, and I'll go back to
Yeah.
modern.
Yeah, it's like I can't, like, as far as hockey is concerned, like, like I don't really play with any of the newer card, like really new cards. So, but some of those fun inserts and really rare, just hard to find, not even rare, hard to find stuff from like the early 2000s into like 2014, 15 is where I kind of end up cutting it off. But it's like I can't get into it with the other sports. Like I'm just not like the basketball, baseball. It just doesn't interest me in the same way. But it's just funny that you know, growing up, I think I somehow got spoiled with the Islanders, like having that magical run when I was like between 9 and 14 years old, and it just stuck with me. And so it's just so. And now as you go down the rabbit hole, right, you start getting back into some of the older cards from the 50s, some of the the stuff from the 1911, 13s, 1937. I think there's even a set. Some of these beehive photos. Are you familiar with beehive photos?
Yeah,
1944 to 63. There's something about them that the images and the way that some of these things were put together just makes them so neat to to stalk and try to.
now they have those 30, like 34, 35-ish O-Pee-Chees that look like the batter up from baseball. Those
I'm
are tough.
Yeah, I'm familiar with them. I don't have anything that's really before 1950 at all. That's something that I'm
And they,
just starting to
yeah, they
dig into. Um,
yeah. And
I've
they
always
also made those for baseball. And of course they're very rare because
yeah,
people didn't collect baseball up there at the time.
yeah, yeah, and it's funny. Like your hockey. I wonder what the future for hockey is, because there's a few good things that are happening for the NHL around the new TV deal and stuff like that. But it's funny if you go to. I've been to what, two card shows over the last like few months, right? And it's just like there's like three hockey cards in the entire room.
Yeah.
And it's really like I wonder whether there's whether it I feel like there is momentum there for the sport, right? I feel like that, and that would ultimately lead into more momentum for cards. But I feel like there's a lot of talent in the league now that I think has potential to like bring faces to the game, which I don't think it was there, like over the whether, aside from a couple of guys, right? The Ovechkin and Crosby perhaps, but like it was just very like two or three guys, and now I feel like there's a whole bunch. There's like potentially 10, 15 guys that could really be the face of the NHL for the next 10 years. Could be cool.
Yeah, I mean, one guy can change the game like Gretzky did, Lemieux did. Nobody in Pittsburgh went to a Penguin game. Nobody.
Oh, I'm
And I
sure.
remember my dad telling me that the Penguins drafted the best player and he's going to change everything and this and that. And I'm like, I didn't even follow the Penguins,
Yeah.
Nobody did. And now to this day, everybody still they have fanatical fans now. They pack the place.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
before Lemieux, that never happened.
I used to end up in Pittsburgh a lot for work, and I got to go see a game in the new arena. The new arena is amazing.
Yeah,
I
I
don't know
haven't been there.
but
But I think I, I I think that hockey, what it lacks is TV time,
yeah,
right?
no, it
I mean,
does.
there's never a game on ABC. Will have one on a Saturday or Sunday here and there, but and they used to have what was it, Wednesday nights on ESPN,
Yeah.
but they just never get airtime. Like the NBA, why is it so popular? Because it's on every night.
Well,
Every night you can watch basketball,
yeah.
but you can't do that with hockey.
I don't know what the new. I mean, because again, the new ESPN deal. I'm not sure what that'll look like, but I think that'll definitely bring some more consistent exposure to it. Like, I mean, and Kurt, you're right. I mean, there's nothing like the NHL playoffs. Nothing at all
Yeah.
in sports, and it's Like, I feel like if there were more, just again, like you're saying, regular games. I also think there's, they did a lot. I think they did some better work with the camera angles recently, because sometimes it's hard to follow on TV too, which doesn't help. So, I think some of those things, I would imagine that they'll probably even continue to improve that, especially since I think, the ESPN deal is pretty long. It's a pretty good sized deal. So they have to have some designs on.
Yeah, and I'm talking the United States. They
Yes,
just don't
that's
get any
true.
time.
So,
And I know to me, one of the things that when I was real into hockey was right at the time that before they changed the rules. And I'm sorry, but a 9-7 hockey game isn't supposed to be. Like, nobody wants to see a 20-18 baseball game.
yeah.
And it's just not normal to have 7-6 hockey games, 9-8 hockey games.
Mm-hmm.
In the old days, it was like a big deal to score. And now you'll see somebody down 3 goals and in a minute they're tied. It's turned into basketball, where in basketball, I don't care how bad you're losing. Come the last 5 minutes, it comes down to the last shot. You ever notice that? And hockey's turning into that now. And football has already been like that.
Yeah. No,
when I watch basketball, I don't even turn it on for the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, I don't even watch basketball at all. So it's every now and then a little NCAA tournament, but basketball to me is unwatchable.
So what do you think about the Young Guns cards? I've noticed over the last few years, they sell for so much more than every other rookie card.
Yeah.
Every brand, like those Young Guns, are so popular, and in my opinion, overpriced.
I would tend to agree. I mean, it's what everybody is determined, is the real most desirable rookie card. So they're everybody hunts them out. I think what's interesting, and I never really processed it until recently, is that the Young Guns, it's also thought of, it's not like a regular card too, which I think drives some of that rarity, right? Because it's always seen as a pseudo insert, right? It's like, oh well, you get 2 Young Guns per box or whatever it is. So it's not like so I think they have this scarcity image that is around them. And I don't know about whether that's real or not, or whether that's just manufactured in some, whether there's real scarcity there, or whether it's just something that people believe. You know what I mean? Because I feel like I see plenty of the cards around, right?
Yeah.
And I've watched enough people opening up boxes where, I'm like, okay, Lafreniere was pulled quite a bit there. So I don't understand. Like, I don't understand how anybody would want to run out and spend, $400 on a rookie card of somebody, right now. It's just crazy. I do agree that I think the Young Guns are overpriced, but
Yeah, Connor McDavid's rookie year,
Yeah.
I was checking out at Dick's, and they happened to have some hockey cards. So I picked up a box for like $19.
Yep.
It was the only box I bought that year, and
Yeah.
I pulled Connor McDavid.
No, you did.
Connor,
Yeah.
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 I'm having McConnor on my mind. Connor McDavid.
You nailed it.
I have it right.
Connor McMichael.
Anyway, I was lucky with that one, but this year I was chasing Lafreniere and the other couple good rookies.
Yeah.
Man, I must have bought 20 boxes. I got nothing.
Oh,
It's like I have a stack of Young Guns, but I didn't get any of those. They can be so elusive.
Yeah. So maybe that's why they command such value on the secondary market. I don't know.
And I mean, they have a large checklist too. So if you get 2 per box,
yeah,
I mean, it's like 30, 40, 50 of them.
No,
I don't know.
And then
follow the checklist.
They have, the Series 1, Series 2, the extended. So it's like they keep pumping it out.
And the oversized Young Guns,
the one that comes in the box. Yeah.
So the card I was going to show, getting back to that, it's Rocket Roars Through.
Oh yeah, some of the inaction shots. I like that. Very cool.
Young Guns are overpriced, but they're flagship rookie cards. Yes, can't argue with that.
They definitely are.
I just, I'm kind of all by myself on this, but I've never understood the rookie card craze. I mean, like some rookie cards, you will pay, I don't know, 50 times more than their second year card. Just makes no sense to me. When I was growing up, well, first of all, when I was growing up collecting, there was no such thing as a rookie card. That wasn't even a term until like 85 with Don Mattingly. But, I collected like the best looking card, right? Like I wanted the 64 Pete Rose rather than the floating head Pete Rose.
Yeah,
And the floating head Pete Rose sold for 3 times as much, 4 times as much. I never understood that. I mean, up until a few years ago, you could get that 64 Pete Rose like for $100 or less, and his rookie was over 1,000, and it's way nicer.
Yeah, I mean, the gap is pretty extreme, and I don't necessarily. You try to think about how that came about, right? How it came, went from like the mid '80s to where we are today, or even to where it was 10 years ago or something like that. I don't know how that, became such a, like all rookie cards are the holy grail. But
yeah, it's kind of silly. I mean, you'll have a player, and then you'll have 3 players you never heard of.
Yeah.
And the card sells for a fortune.
Oh yeah, well,
like if you look at Nolan Ryan and Johnny Bench and Rod Carew, and Tom Seaver, I mean, all their second year cards are way nicer.
Yeah. Especially the multiple ones are tough to, and sometimes they're just not easy to look at.
Right. I mean, they're just not that attractive. And like I said, sometimes they feature players that are, nobodies. But I mean, at least the Nolan Ryan features Jerry Kuzman too, who was a good pick. He had his day in the 80s. Hold on 1 second.
He had a good career.
I gotta grab something.
Uh-oh. I know I speak for everybody. Everybody gets all excited when you step away and like, okay, what is he going to come back with now? You had to really go digging.
Oh, here we go. I thought it was, I was just looking in the wrong place. Took me a minute. But this is a cool set. The 79.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's not because it's a rookie card or because it's Wayne Gretzky. This is just a cool looking card. I mean, this is so indicative of the era.
Yeah. Well, I do love the design of that year, right? My favorite Gretzky though is the second year, is the 1980 you pulled out before.
Yeah, I actually, and I have it in a display, so I couldn't show it. I like his third year card.
Third year.
That's why I have it in a display, because I like it.
Yeah, Bobby Hull.
And then of course Gordie Howe at the end of his career is in this.
Yeah.
And Mike Bossy. And Bossy has a couple cards.
Yep.
In the set.
Yeah, he kept setting records every year, so he got one of the first few cards in the set, just him and Gretzky all the time.
Oh man, who knows this guy? What's he known for?
Is that another Marcel Dion that you just did?
Yeah. Is that the wrong one?
He's a goalie?
Man, I can't even read it.
Got a towel around his neck. He's got to be a goalie.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? Up until this live stream, I didn't even know that there was a second Marcel Dion, and I had all these cards.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
I think I bought the wrong Dion.
Well, you probably thought you probably got a really good deal.
No wonder. How about Barry Melrose?
Nice. That's fun. I don't think I've ever seen that card. I have a couple of.
That's the announcer, right?
Yeah. With the great.
He's awesome.
Oh, he's great. I have a couple of his cards. It was like 82 and 83 O-Pee-Chee. I remember running into those recently, like a couple of years back, going through them. I was like, oh, how about that? There's Ken Dryden, yeah.
Brian Trottier, you mentioned him earlier.
Yes.
I have a bunch of his cards.
He was my guy. So a funny story. Well, it's so obviously Trottier has a history with Pittsburgh too, right? And I think he actually still lives in the Pittsburgh area, if I'm not mistaken. So one of the guys that I was working with recently at a recent job, who lived out in Utah, right? He was originally from Pittsburgh. We start talking about hockey somehow. It always seems to work its way into conversation. And he's like, "Oh, you're an Islander fan," and and I'm probably have like 15 years on the guy, right? So I'm, he's in his mid-30s. I'm pretty sure he has no idea who the hell Trottier and Bossy and the Islanders were. But he's like, "Oh, are you a Brian Trottier fan?" I'm like, "Whoa, yeah." He was like my guy. That's the jersey I had. Blah blah blah. He's like, "Yeah, it's he's a really nice guy. He's a really cool guy, Trottier." I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, the guy?" He's like, "Yeah, I dated his daughter for a couple of years, and I didn't even realize, who he was and this and that." But he just, he comes across as such like a nondescript guy. But that was very true, even when he was, riding, the height of his fame with the Islanders. He was always just really soft spoken.
Well, he played for my Penguins too.
Yeah, he just kept winning. He just kept winning rings, no matter where he went. The only thing that finally the universe got to Brian Trottier was when he took the head coach of the Rangers job. And everybody was, and I know everybody that at least was in my Islander circle was like, "My God, what is he doing to us?" And he just had a really short stint there. It didn't work out. And that was probably God saying, "Yeah, you can't cross those lines. You can't go from the Islanders to the Rangers or vice versa." It's a tough one.
Here's some of my favorite players from back in the day. Joe Sakic. I loved him.
Yeah.
And I got this cool one. I remember I put this set together card by card, and it's a large set.
Yeah,
I just loved these when they came out. And here's the Matt Sundin, and I was a fan of his as well.
Yeah, he was. Anybody in the Nordiques were always my second favorite team, because I had to have a Canadian team in my top.
Now this is an error card. This is the wrong back, so it's upside down, and it's Dave somebody or other on the back.
Oh, yeah.
So it's an error card. And the Gretzky Canadian, score Canadian.
Yeah.
Harder to find. Ed Belfour.
I think the Eagle, yeah. That's a good one.
Brett Hall, rookie. This was like the heyday when I started to buy hockey cards right here.
Gretzky. Yeah, the Brett Hall was one of the few hockey cards back in that time that actually commanded some interest. Right. So
how about this one?
Oh yeah.
That was such a popular card. Oh, everybody was chasing that one.
Oh, everybody. He was going to be one of the guys who made the 21 years into 28 years of just 4 guys. Right. He was going to change the game. And he was still awesome. He just couldn't stay healthy. Shanahan, he was mean.
I pulled this out of a pack myself, and I decided to send it in because I'm like, I just pulled it right out of the pack. It's probably a 10. It came back as 7.
Yeah, it happens. It happens.
Larry Murphy, they brought him in to protect Lemieux because Lemieux, nobody ever touched Gretzky, but Lemieux got beat up the whole way up and down the ice. So they brought this guy in to protect him.
Gretzky wasn't 6'5", but he had Dave Semenko, patrolling the ice. But
Gretzky never got touched.
Larry Murphy was part of Lemieux's protection.
They brought him to Pittsburgh. We didn't have a goon.
No,
and, everybody beat the heck out of Lemieux. I mean, he got beat up every night.
Yeah, the coffee.
Wait, I wanted to show you. Where's that other card? Oh, here I got a nice Paul
I'm not
Coffey.
sure if that's cool. That's a nice one. I'm not sure if the gentleman who just posted the question, fan of New York Rangers, goes by the same name on Instagram, but if he does, you got to go follow him on Instagram. As much as I hate the Rangers, I can't stand the Rangers, but he's one of my favorite Instagrammers because he's always posting really neat things, and every now and then, I like some of the stuff.
I loved this growing up, but these are never worth anything. They're ESO stickers.
So recently, I just bought a lot of 120 Mario Lemieux of those 1988 ESOs, and I bought like a kind of a complete. I don't want to say a complete set, but like a lot of like 70 of those. I haven't gone through them yet, but I'm like, they're really cool, and they're small. I didn't realize they were so small. I had never seen them in person until they showed up in my house. I was like, huh, these things are tiny.
They're really cool.
But they're clean and they're neat. The picture's great on some of them.
Yeah, here's Jello. These are great cards, but I'm trying to find my my Lemieux. Where the heck is that? I have the Yager and the Lemieux there, and then I have where did I just see? Here's a Yager post, still in the package.
Lots of food, and you can get me hungry for some.
I see. I was a big Paul Coffey fan. They had that little, I don't even know what it is. Back in the day when I was very young, I have all these cards. I mean, they were never worth anything, but they're like awesome. Like I love them.
You have any of those 7-Eleven discs where they have like they changed the picture, sort of like Sport Flick like?
Oh yeah, they didn't make them for hockey, did they?
They did. There were. I don't have any, but I've seen a few like Boston.
Oh. No, but I have all kinds for baseball.
Yeah, I know. I've seen lots of those that you've shown on the other sports. But,
here's the Mullen brothers.
Okay.
Now, Joey Mullen, I don't know if you know this, he played for my Penguins as well. And when he retired, he was the all-time leading point holder for any American-born hockey player.
Yep.
And I got to play a round of golf with him. And it was awesome because Robert Lang was playing behind us. And he kept coming up and messing with us because he's a real jokester. Like, he's a fun guy.
He was a bit of a goon. No, am I thinking of the right guy? Robert Lang never backed down from a conflict on the ice, if I'm not mistaken.
No.
Okay. Yeah.
I liked him. Kevin Stevens.
He was the other one who was in that power play mix when they were just deadly, like in that 90-91.
Did you watch the game where he fell flat on his face and broke his nose and there was blood all over the ice and knocked himself out?
I believe I don't know that I was watching that live, but I'm pretty sure I saw that.
He passed out. It was real hard to watch. He fell face first on the ice.
Yeah. Oof. Yeah, there was some ugly injuries.
Turgeon.
Over there. Who was that? Oh.
Turgeon.
Sylvain Turgeon, right? Okay.
I always loved this card. And he was kind of special for me. Patrick Lalime. That's his rookie card.
Yeah, was it? How many years where he was just like the future of the Penguins? It was like a year or two where he had that incredible just an incredible stint, and then he just sort of.
Well, here's what's interesting. So he holds the record for most consecutive wins by a rookie.
Yeah.
And Ben Roethlisberger holds that in football. So two Pittsburgh people hold that. And Ben Roethlisberger broke another Pittsburgh quarterback, Mike Kruzak's record. He originally held it. But I watched a playoff game with him, and he was about to break the record for most periods without giving up a goal in the playoffs. And he was like something like 30 seconds away from breaking the record, and he gave up a goal. And I was so sad because I do like him.
Yeah. He started out like a house of fire though, and it wasn't able to continue.
Yeah, well, I like guys that even if they didn't have 20, 30 years of doing something, if they were great for any period of time, I still like to collect them.
Oh, sure.
People like Mark Fidrich, Fernando Valenzuela, these guys they just came up and had such an amazing start to their careers.
I remember that about like Kelly Lindbergh and the Flyers in the early '80s when he came up. He had a few, like I think it was like 2 or 3 years, and then he died in a car crash. And then he was somebody who was just like, amazing.
No, I didn't know him. No, I don't know of him.
Yeah, Flyers. This guy, similar situation to Lalim in a sense, right? Where he came up and he was just unbeatable for a while.
Marc-Andre Fleury.
Okay, Andre Fleury.
This is a really cool card. I'm a Malkin fan, right? This is a piece of his stick.
Talk about no love in the hobby. That's kind of neat. Yeah, I have a whole bunch of Malkin stuff that I've been buying recently. I don't understand. I mean, again, it's probably just that he's overshadowed by Crosby in the scheme of things, right?
Yeah.
He's a top 50.
I always liked him more. He I don't know. I was a fan of his.
Yeah.
Now this is a great card, and this card, I'm gonna say it right here, right now. You learned it from me.
Uh-oh.
This card is the most undervalued hockey card of all time. All right.
Okay.
Of all time.
So we try.
This is a rookie showdown card. Rookie showdown card featuring Ovechkin and Sidney Crosby.
Oh, look at that. I've never seen that.
3D.
Kind of fun.
And I mean, these you can pick up for nothing. I have 2 of them.
What set is that from?
Upper Deck.
It's an Upper Deck for okay.
I got some Crosbys here.
Nice. It's amazing they came into the league at the same time.
Ovechkin, got some modern stuff.
I talk about my hate for the Rangers. I hate Ovechkin, but again, I find myself buying a lot of Ovechkin cards. So what does that say?
He's such a great scorer, though.
Yeah. He's infuriating because it's like nobody can knock him off the puck. And I've been watching him for like 15 years torment the Islanders, and like, how come nobody can put him on his back? But you realize he's giant. He's 6'3" and 230. It's like, of course.
Patrick Hornquist.
Talk about pain in the ass. Patrick Hornquist.
John Carlson, he broke a record. Maybe a Capitals record. He hit some milestone like 2 years ago. Who knows? See maybe the all-time scoring defenseman for the Capitals or
definitely
something along those lines.
Possible. He's been around for a while and he's been playing at a high level. It's possible.
I can't remember, but he hit some milestone. This is really cool too. So this is, the 3 great Penguins that came up together that changed our team. And I remember
together.
I was on a golf outing, and I had a friend that played hockey in the Penguins organization in Johnstown, Pennsylvania. And when we drafted these guys, he told me that we would be in the Stanley Cup playoffs within 2 years. And we would win the Stanley Cup. I'm sorry.
Okay.
And we did 2 or 3 years. I told him he was crazy at the time because our team was horrible. But this is it's a patch of Sidney Crosby, Malcolm, and Jordan Stahl.
Okay.
And it's numbered to 25.
Very neat.
2006.
I thought you're pulling something out from the Lemieux era, or maybe even the Yager era in some ways. But
I got lots of stuff from the Lemieux era.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a fan of his too. Phil Kessel.
I'm not a.
And James Neal. Both of these guys played really well when Sidney Crosby and Malcolm were out. And they really, really stepped up. So I got to give them props. I'm freaking out a little bit because I cannot find man, I'm looking for my my Lemieux Jello. How about these cards? These are cheap cards, but they are so cool looking. What year are these? 90, are they 97? Pinnacle? They have like a disc there.
Trying to see through.
Yeah, here's Patrick Waugh.
Nice.
And Steve Yzerman. What do you think about Steve Yzerman?
I love Steve Yzerman. Awesome.
He used to be so hot in the hobby, but I mean, his stuff doesn't sell for anything now.
No, I think it's also part of where his cards fell. Like again, with folks who have like that '84 rookie, it's a weird time. You familiar with these glossy round corners from '77?
Oh yeah, I have those here.
I grabbed a couple of these recently. They're so much fun.
They're great.
But an insert of some sort. Yeah, I feel like I like Yzerman, especially. Do players like him and actually here's an Yzerman jambalaya. That's fun. Jambalaya. But he's like with him and Sakic and Brendan Shanahan, like doing the work in the front, the league office. I wonder how that, because they're going to be, and especially Sakic and Yzerman, the way that they've built teams, they're going to win more Stanley Cups, and like, does that raise their hobby stature? I don't know, but yeah, Yzerman, like, and even Sakic's stuff is very reasonable. If he's in like the same set as a bunch of other guys surrounding him, he's always kind of bringing up the rear.
I love Joe Sakic.
Yeah.
I love to watch him play.
Yeah.
That they had a good team out in Colorado when he was there. It was Chris Drury and him and Patrick Waugh.
Yeah, there was 5 years of nonstop success there.
Yeah.
The weirdest thing, going back to Ray Bourque, right? Because Ray Bourque, everybody always wanted Ray Bourque to get a championship in Boston. It never happened, but he got the championship with Colorado. And after they won the Stanley Cup, they actually had not a parade, but an event for Ray Bourque in Boston.
Oh yeah.
He went to celebrate him winning the Stanley Cup for the Avalanche. And
that's
it tells you something about how loved in Boston he was. That's just like that doesn't even make sense. Like that would be from like a legit event.
I know, that's really cool though.
Yeah.
Who's Jimmy Hayes?
He just passed today. I saw something. He was I think he was on the Bruins, but he was definitely a suburban Boston native. He just passed away yesterday or today.
I don't know him.
Hey,
Dr. Exclusive, that Turgeon card is a big card? Is it? I don't even know what I have.
I don't know. I mean, unless there's something obscure about it.
I have no idea. Oh, I know why. I'm trying to think of why I have it in a one touch. Yes, it is. This is
Oh, is that the one that Patrick Kane is?
Yeah, that's Patrick Kane as a little kid.
Patrick Kane, the 7-year-old Patrick. So that's the true Patrick Kane rookie.
This is the rookie card, because, they want those rookie cards younger and younger. We're going to start getting, like, pictures of them in the womb.
Soon.
That's what we're going to do for rookie cards. Because, a lot of rookie cards are ugly. Not ugly, but, I mean, I don't like them because they have the player looks like he's 12. Like you have to feel funny collecting cards of kids. Like it's just not normal, you know. Like Sean Green, I have a rookie card. He looks like he is so young, like a little kid. So this is the ultimate now. You have a little child there, rookie card. I forgot about that. I skipped right over it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, it'll be interesting. That's some sharp eyes to pull that off. But
yeah, I don't know who discovered that.
Maybe it was Patrick Kane. He must have known about it when he was a young one. I wonder how some of this new, how the name, image, likeness thing that's come, that the NCAA players are able to, get some endorsements and this and that. And now with all the stuff with the licensing going into a different world, I wonder how that stuff is going to evolve. Like, are we going to start seeing college cards and, high school prospects and weird stuff like that?
Well, there's no doubt we're going to see college cards.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no doubt. That's what, I mean, at least in football.
Yeah.
Probably baseball too.
Yeah.
Basketball.
Basketball. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe.
So I guess all of them. Can you come over here and help me find my my Jello card?
I would be happy to, but I think it would take too long.
I'm concerned because I love that Jello card. Those aren't easy to find, believe it or not.
No, not at all. I've never seen any of them. Those Jellos.
They're a little oversized, but they're cool. And I have them together. So
now, did that have players from other teams, or was that just a Pittsburgh thing?
I don't know.
Okay.
These are the only two I've seen, and the only two I have.
Yeah, I've never seen those at all.
I honestly don't know. But all right, well, when we I'll be looking for it all night. I'll tell you this. I was looking for this one card, and I was tearing my house apart. Because when you have 100 boxes of cards, if you happen to have, like, did this ever happen to you where you'll take two cards and you'll go to put them in boxes and you accidentally put them both in the same box, but the one doesn't belong there. And so then you're looking for it and you can't figure out where it is and you stumble on it years later. Well, anyway, I dug everywhere. I'm tearing my house apart. I'm looking in every room where I have cards. I'm looking through boxes over and over. I'm looking through boxes that I just recently put cards away. I can't find it anywhere. I had put it in a display. I changed cards out and totally forgot. And I look up and it's right in my display.
Well, I can only imagine the inventory challenges that you have. There's just knowing what you've kind of pulled out and shown over at least since I've been watching you over the last year and a half or whatever, just that alone, but also knowing what also must be around, like how you manage all that.
Well, I used to brag on when I first got on Facebook and started a Facebook page that I could find any card in 3 minutes or less.
Okay.
And I would.
Yeah.
But then when I started to do YouTube, I started pulling cards out, and I just have to show you because this is an absolute disaster. And I have about 3 hours worth of reorganization and putting all these cards back. But you got to see how ridiculous this is. So this is, every time I do a feed, now I got to put all these back.
Oh,
and I've been doing a lot. So I have
and it's probably not going to help.
Look at this. Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. You do have,
and it's usually so neat here, because I like to come up here and have everything in its place, like be able to find cards when I want to do a video. But I've been doing all these videos where I pull out a whole bunch of cards.
Yeah.
Like I did one on the best looking cards,
yeah.
Which is a challenge I have out there.
Yes.
To do a video with your favorite looking cards, no matter what their value or anything. And I still haven't put those back, and so it's getting out of hand.
since we were living in an apartment the last few years, so I just had a few boxes. Everything was very well contained, because most, the vast majority of stuff is still back on Long Island, in my parents' basement. But as far as volume, right? But it's like, even just having like a couple of boxes that just have a bunch of boxes in them, right? I have no idea like where half of the stuff is. I was thinking, I'm like, oh, I have some of these dad's cookies from like 1970, 70 or 71, right? They're these oversized cards. I bought a few of them, right? And I was like, oh, I should bring those upstairs, just for, maybe to have them handy. I'm like, I don't know where they are. Because we literally just moved into this place 2 weeks ago, but I only have 3 boxes. So where they're in one of the boxes. It's just like, it's like, even if you're, you're very small on the inventory side, it becomes a challenge, right?
And that, yeah, it does. And that's why mine are organized meticulously. Like,
Yes.
I want to be able to go pull whatever I want to pull.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how do you organize your cards? By player, by year, by set, what?
It used to be by set, always by set. But then we kind of got into I went through everything and kind of pulled out anything, quote, of value per se. So now it's sort of like it was done by set, and now it's kind of by set. But at a minimum, it's at least by sport. So that's helpful.
Yeah, I store mine by set as well.
Yeah.
But some of the modern cards with baseball, I kind of have them all mixed together and kind of pull out like the Mike Trout rookies and the DeGrom rookies, and that kind of put them kind of together. So I have a bunch of years lumped kind of together and then separate too.
Yeah,
but only for modern.
When I find that when I get like these boxes back from grading, right? So you get the PSA boxes or maybe an SGC box or whatever. I find like now it's just like this. I'm not good at keeping things in order in these little boxes. I have to figure out a better system, because this box right here I know has random hockey, football, and even like there's an 81 George Gervin. Like, I mean, it's just random stuff.
Oh, nice. The Iceman.
It's a really nice one, right?
Yeah. I love that set. I'm not sure I have that card.
Well, Teemu Selanne from 91 Upper Deck. The 91 Upper Deck was something that I was much more familiar. I didn't get into the whole score stuff back in the early 90s, beyond a little football, but but like I don't even know what's in this box, so that's a problem.
I just like that first score set. I love that first score set. The rest of them I don't really care for.
Yeah. No, it was very cool.
They kind of got junky after that. With the red border and the blue. I don't care for it.
Yeah.
But the first set I love.
Yeah, it was reminiscent of Fleer did a similar design like that in the baseball side. It was 89 or 90. Kind of had the the stripes kind of going.
Yeah, they did.
Similar.
Yeah. 80 is that I want to say 87 or 89. 88.
88 might be it.
88, I believe.
That might be it. You might be right.
And they're the ones that they're like all miscut. They're like so hard to find a centered one.
Yeah, well, so many of the it's amazing, like when you're not consciously aware of how miscut so many things, some of the cars from the 80s are, and then you start looking closely at some of these and you're like, my God, like what would it take to find something that's not like in a diamond or all those the weird stuff. I was watching. I'm trying to think of the. He doesn't do a lot of videos on YouTube anymore. Forget the guy's the name, but he used to do these deep dives on some of the cards, whether it's around the PSA pop reports, but also how the cards were cut. So like the 1970s. I know this is a hockey is a hockey show, but the
That's all right.
the
We're beyond that at this point.
76 George Brett, because it was at the top left corner of the sheet. It never came in any at all close to being centered. And it's funny because I was like searching for a centered 1976 George Brett for like 9 months, and I found one that was okay, and the rest of them were just. It's not like they were just mildly off center. It was just like all like 90, 10 and crazy. But it's amazing, like when you look closely at some of this stuff, how rare something is that is truly kind of centered well. Like
I don't know that was kind of in the wheelhouse of my collecting. I'm not sure people know how tough that card is to find centered. Yeah, it's kind of like the '78 Eddie Murray rookie. That's really tough to find centered too.
Impossible. Yeah. But like especially on the hockey, like when you're in the '70s, like some of the cards are just they're embarrassing the way some of them are cut.
And at the time, we didn't realize. Like when I was growing up, when I got older, I pulled my cards out of storage and stuff. I'm like, wow, like I would never select this card today, but I had these cards that I absolutely loved, and they were off center. And I guess I wasn't that into centering back then, but I kind of am now.
You have you collect like really miscut cards, or you have a bunch of really miscut cards, right?
Yeah, the extreme ones I like.
Yeah. I have a few that I have to send your way, because there was I had pulled like some, like when I was going through my old collection, there were just some that were it was like 2/3 of one card and a third of another card or something like that, and I was like, how does that even happen? But like there was some of those examples, they're hilarious.
Yeah, the ones that have like they're cut and they have the other team name. Like be a pirate, and then below it says cards, or something like that, Cardinals or.
I've seen that. Yeah, I haven't seen that on the in the hockey world. I see that more in baseball, or at least 80s baseball, 70s.
And you don't even I don't find it that much in basketball or football either. It's baseball for the most part.
Yeah.
And I have a whole second collection of those.
Okay.
You know that? Like I used to seek them out.
I thought I remembered hearing. I remember back in the day, I traded a 1982 Jody Davis that was miscut in that way for like 50 cards to one of the kids at school, because he wanted that card because it was so miscut. I was like,
yeah. Hey, hold on. I had one that I just showed not too long ago. If I could find it quickly, which I think I can.
All right. We're counting on
it. It's a classic.
I don't know if the fan of the New York Rangers, my friend, is out there. But again, I hate the Rangers. But here's a Mark Messier, really cool Messier card, run for the Cup from 1996 Upper Deck. These are only out of 100. They're virtually impossible to get. This one is a PSA 6 because they chip all over the place, but I was happy to get that back. I hate Mark Messier, but I'll tell you, someone whose card should be probably a lot tougher to get.
Okay, I guess I can't find it quickly. Sorry.
All right.
Man, it was just around. It's a 41 play ball Joe DiMaggio. It's like it's miscut, but the image is perfect. The colors are perfect. The corners are sharp, but it's miscut.
Yeah.
So, but I intentionally bought it.
Yeah.
I was on a kick there, and I also buy. I like to buy the old stamped back of the very old vintage cards. In the like in the early 1900s, they kids would stamp the back of them, right, to say that's my card or whatever, and I try to reunite them.
Have you been successful in any of them?
Yeah, I reunited two.
Really?
Yeah, let me here. They're the only two I ever reunited, but I have a couple other ones that I seek out. Like there's one that has an O on the back, and there's one that has an A. Okay. And this is a thing. People collect these stamp backs. See, grading this is one of the reasons I don't like grading, is that to me that adds something to that card if I can put them together,
Mm-hmm.
but it's an immediate 1.5 because it's
Right.
stamped, right, or 1.
Mm-hmm.
So so it'll, no matter what condition it's in, if it has a little stamp, it's going to have a low grade.
Yeah, yeah. I got back a couple of cards recently. Actually, it was funny. So I had been kind of traveling around with all these, all my special cards like over the years, right? I never let them out of my sight, and there were a couple of Lemieux rookies in there that were, again, to my eye, perfect, right? And I got them back from PSA way back when, and one graded out a 9, so that made sense, right? The other one came out, and so I'm doing this reveal, and I see, oh, here's a Lemieux 9, and here's a Lemieux 4.5. And I'm like, what the hell happened here? And I'm looking at the front of the card, and I am saying it is perfect, right? And I was like, what am I missing here? And I turned the card over, and I'm sort of, I'm kind of looking, doing in the light, and I was like, oh shit, there it is. And like that whole, I had like a giant wrinkle through the back of the card that I would have never seen. And but it looked, I mean, dead on. It looked.
But it wasn't through the front?
No, you couldn't. It was just on the back. It was a slight like crease, wrinkle, and more of a wrinkle than a crease, but it was unbelievable.
Yeah, and the back really doesn't bother me if the front's, perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking like vintage cards,
Sure.
These, you have a card that's 100 years old.
Yeah, that's different.
You're not going to find a perfect example.
Yeah.
So you just want to, for me, I just want a presentable one that really looks great.
Yeah.
So here are the two cards I pieced together. And this is, you probably won't be able to see it on here, but a guy named Dan Hamlin. And he lived in New York City. And there's a Cap Anson.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see the stamp on the back.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then I got the Jack Glasscock. Now, he was the Ozzie Smith of his day. A great shortstop.
Yeah.
And you can see it has the same stamp. So I've reunited these two.
That's wild.
And so, it's pretty cool to me to take somebody's collection and, people, if you're putting your stamp on a card or whatever, your initials, like you probably, absolutely love these cards, right?
Yeah.
And so they were special to somebody. And for me to bring them to my collection, and now they're special for me, it has a little bit more meaning to me.
Sure, that's really good. Now, did you buy them at the same time, or did you find them separately?
So I bought these, I think, within like a couple weeks of each other.
Okay.
I believe. And there was another one I was following, and I've followed it for a long time. But I mean, these cards aren't cheap. Yeah. And I found a third one, but it eventually sold before I could pull the trigger on it.
Gotcha.
If anybody out there bought it, maybe you want to sell it to me.
Just trying to make a deal. I like it.
Hey, Zombie. Where'd that go? Now, Zombie, Jason, he's getting a little cocky, because he received his YouTube Hall of Fame patch in the mail. Hockey cards. You don't like hockey? Who else is here? Jack. Yeah, Jack Glasscock for the Hall of Fame for sure, man. If you look at his stats, he was like the Ozzie Smith of his day. Oh, you have a couple old Olympic cards with Jefferson Burdick stamp on. Oh, really cool. That's really cool.
It's almost as cool as this Tony Hill icon there. That's fantastic.
Dawn, what's up? Well, I don't know about you, Chris, but I think I'm going to have to wrap it up. We've been on here for an hour and 45 minutes.
Long time. Doesn't feel like it. Yeah.
I want to thank you for taking me up on this. We'll have to do it again.
I would whenever. I was thrilled to even be thought of as a potential guest. I'm delighted.
Well, you when I really got to know you was when I did my contest for my 1,000 subs, and you did such a great impersonation of me with the sleeveless shirts, and I like to look at some baseball cards. I was cracking up, and that's what really stood out, or I really got to know you.
No,
Yeah, that was great. I wanted to ask you though before I let you go. What do you collect? Do you collect all sports?
um, I guess it would seem like I might. I'm dead. I have a cat who's like losing his mind down there. I guess I have a little of everything, right? Hockey is definitely the focus and the obsession, if you will. But I do have, um, football, baseball, basketball. I've got a little, got a little Danica Patrick NASCAR collection.
Oh, I do too.
Hawk and Matt Hoffman skateboarders here and there. But so yeah, I'm kind of as things kind of interest me, like I end up kind of diving in a little bit. But so I have a little bit of everything, but mostly the hockey world is where I'm kind of focused.
So it is mostly hockey.
Yeah, actually, it's surprising now that I say that, but like I got into soccer quite a bit too recently, but that I felt like that was just more of a an experiment to buy a lot of cards cheap last year, grade them and sell them. So that was it's more of a flip thing, but like I bought some vintage soccer cards from the 60s that are just stunningly beautiful from Germany and stuff. So I those will be around for the long term, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you say that because I bought some hockey cards last year too because they were the only cards I could find. That was all that was at Target.
Yeah, and now it's fun. I've seen like last year it was very easy to win hockey cards reasonably on eBay. Again, if you went into a Target or a Walmart, there would be hockey cards sitting there. Nothing else would be around, but hockey cards would still be there. But the hockey market has gotten very competitive lately. Like really competitive to the point where I'm just like, Jesus, like what the hell? Like I thought I had this all to myself. Now it's
it's a trickle down effect.
They're encroaching on because it's sort of like everything else got a little too expensive, so people are kind of migrating over to
Well, I mean, there are a lot of like the investment channels and so forth. They're writing articles and they're touting to get the other sports.
Yeah. No, they definitely. Yeah, it's and hockey is one of those other sports. It's not one of the big three, right? It barely.
Well, soccer. I was speaking about soccer, but yeah, hockey too. And more mainstream certainly in Canada and the United States than soccer. Although soccer's made a lot of inroads.
It definitely has.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find myself watching like some random Bundesliga games now here and there. It's on. I'm like, what am I doing?
I enjoy watching soccer.
I played soccer for so many years, and I've tried. I really enjoyed watching soccer when it was the major indoor soccer league back in the late 70s and early 80s because there was indoor and a hockey rink right on artificial turf. That was exciting, coming off the boards and stuff. But I struggle staying interested in a soccer game though.
Yeah, I mean it's slow for sure. Yeah. But it's kind of relaxing and lay on the couch on the weekend when I want to veg. I had a long work week. I don't know. I get into it and it's nice because it's still hard to score in soccer, unlike hockey.
Yeah.
You're not going to see a 9-7 soccer game.
No, very rare. It's relaxing. It's like watching golf, right? A little bit.
Yeah.
In some ways.
Yeah, it's very similar. Like when I would play golf. Now I never liked to watch golf until I played. And then I was all into it and I understand what's going on. And I would come home from playing around and, it's in the heat and I laid down on the couch, put on some golf and those, the British accents whispering would just put me off and take a nice little nap.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
soccer's kind of like that too.
that's great.
All right, I wanted to show you my Danica Patrick.
Oh dear, that's quite different than the Danica Patricks that I've.
You know what I have, and I don't have it handy. Well, I think I have it up on the display. Is it up there? Oh, I'll show it to you. I'm gonna take the phone over and show it to you because, man, is it cool. You remember when she was in the Sports Illustrated for swimsuit edition?
I don't.
Well, can you see that?
I can. Well,
That's a piece of her bathing suit.
the cards that I have are just like race relics and sheet metal and stuff from the cars, but that's quite nice.
Yeah, it's an interesting piece. All right, Chris. Well,
All right.
is there anything else you wanted to talk about before we wrap
No,
up?
I think we're good. Keep in touch. Thanks again for having me on.
I will. Thank you so much for being on. And I'm going to spend the next 3 hours here trying to find that Jello Lemieux.
All right. I expect to see it on your next video.
Yeah, I'll have to show it when I finally find it.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, I just won something. I just won another 73 candy
Thanks
lid,
for
Topps candy lid.
What's that?
Thanks, Chris. See ya. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Yes. Thanks, everyone. It was fun.